When someone asks you how you are doing, and before you even think about it, a joke comes out, not because you planned it, not because you are trying to deflect. It just happens. And then the moment passes and everyone laughs and moves on and you move on too. And somewhere underneath that, there is something you never actually said out loud. That is what I want to talk about today. There is a specific type of person, and you probably know exactly who I mean. Or you already know I am talking about you who uses humor the way other people use a wall. Not to be funny, to be safe. And from the outside, these people look like the easiest people in the room, the most fun, the most relaxed, the ones who always know what to say to cut the tension. But psychology tells us something very different about what is actually happening on the inside. There is a term for this. Researchers call it humour, as a defensive coping mechanism. And what that means in plain language is this: somewhere along the way, you learned that making people laugh was the fastest way to make a situation feel okay, to make people stay close, to make sure nobody looked too carefully at what was underneath. And here's the important part. You probably learned this very young. The people who use humor to cope most heavily in adulthood almost always trace it back to early environments where expressing pain directly did not feel like an option. Not necessarily dramatic, not always obvious. Maybe it was a home where things were tense, and you learned that if you made everyone laugh, the tension lifted. Maybe it was a parent who was dealing with their own pain and there was not really space for yours. Maybe you just learned early that being sad made people uncomfortable, and being funny made people want to be around you. So you chose funny every time because it worked. And now, even when things are genuinely not okay, a relationship ending, a hard day, something that actually hurt the joke, still comes first, before the honest answer, before the vulnerable moment, before anyone gets close enough to see the actual thing. And the cruel part of this is that you get so good at it that the people who love you most cannot tell the difference anymore, because you perform lightness so consistently, so automatically, that even on the days you are not okay, you look exactly the same as the days you are. And people stop asking. Because why would they? You seem fine. You are always fine. You are the one who makes everyone else feel fine. Here's what also happens, and this one tends to hit close to home. You become the person everyone brings their problems to, the one who listens, who lightens the mood, who knows exactly what to say. People feel better after talking to you. You are genuinely good at this. But when something is wrong with you, not a crisis, just something heavy and quiet and hard, you almost never bring it to anyone. Not because you do not have people who care. You do. But because being the one who needs something feels so unfamiliar, it almost feels wrong. Because being needed feels like love. Being the one who needs feels like a burden. And you have spent so long being the former that the latter feels like a language you never learned to speak. There is also something that happens in your relationships, specifically. When someone gets genuinely close to you, close enough to see past the jokes, close enough to notice when the humor is covering something, it can feel almost uncomfortable. Like they got somewhere they were not supposed to get, because intimacy requires you to put down the thing that has always kept you safe. And even when you are with someone who genuinely cares, some part of you does not entirely trust that they will stay if they see the version of you that is not funny. That is not okay. That is just tired. So, you keep performing, even for the people who would love you without it. Here is something worth sitting with for a second. Being funny is not a problem. That capacity is genuinely remarkable. It takes intelligence. It takes a kind of warmth, choosing to make things lighter for other people, even when you are not feeling light yourself. But there is a difference between humor that processes pain and humor that buries it. One moves through the thing. The other just covers it over and hopes it stays quiet. And covered things do not disappear. They just go quiet for a while. And quiet things have a way of getting louder at the exact moments you least expect. That person who learned to be funny so nobody would look too closely, they were doing something incredibly clever. They kept people close during the times when being honest might have pushed them away. They made rooms lighter when everything inside felt heavy. They protected themselves the only way they knew how. And it worked. It genuinely worked. But that version of you was built for survival. And you are not just surviving anymore. You are allowed to put it down now. Not the humor, keep that. It is part of you and it is beautiful. But the weight underneath it. The part that says you have to be okay so everyone else can be okay. The part that performs lightness, even on the days when you have nothing left. That part has been working overtime for a very long time. What would it feel like to let someone actually see you? Not the funny version, not the one who has a joke for everything, just you, tired and honest and real. Because that version, the one underneath all of it, that is the one worth knowing.